Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Tonight, we have Rhys Jones. He's one of the premier old-time fiddlers in the United States. He's been here before, about 10 years ago. How long ago was that, Jeff? 2012. It was fun. He was here then, and he's been in town several times this summer, playing down at McGurk's, playing Irish music. But tonight he's going to play old-time fiddle and sing a few songs. And he put together a great band from Bloomington, Indiana. On the bass, we have Abby Ladin, and on the banjo, we have Sam Bartlett. And although he put it together just for this show, I hope maybe this will be an ongoing thing. But if you give these guys a round of applause, I think they'll come on and play a few tunes.
Well, if we were cool kids, we'd just start playing in silence and then do a series of well-rehearsed introductions to each tune, one by one, doling out information about ourselves. We're not cool kids. So we're going to... It's true, we did put this together for tonight in the sense that this evening we're playing together, but Sam and Abby and I have been playing together since I was in my late teens. So there's
and so was I.
Yeah, there's a lot of time spent playing music together there. So this is a grand reunion.
Many a festival, many a early morning that we saw playing music.
We're gonna start with an old fiddle tune just to make sure our sound levels are right before we get into our operatic virtuosity. This is called Hollow Poplar. Well, I've been playing old-time fiddle since I was about 5 years old, and there are certain tunes that you play that are kind of like little picture books of your memories, the memory album of the tune. And Soldier's Joy, for me, is one of them. It's the first tune I ever learned on the fiddle. And it's a tune that takes you, I think, through your entire life. But certainly I can play it, and I can think back on almost every time I've played it, at every party and every session. And many of those times are with Sam and Abby. But it's also a tune that I almost always do as the first or second tune when I sit down to play. So it's, I don't know, I'm probably preaching to the choir here since I'm guessing none of you are new to old-time music. But in case you are, it's not only is it a standard, it's supposedly the oldest tune in the American repertoire. It goes back to like the 1200s in Scotland when it was called The King's Head.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yes. There'll be tests afterwards. That's what we do. I learned this one from the Skillet Lickers, and we'll shout some lyrics at you. If you can make sense of them, that's good. Start on the second part there. Nothing like good old wholesome American music about getting drunk and doing morphine. It's great. Well, now that we're confident that our luxurious vocals are set as they should be, the sonorous tones, we'll play a tune called Johnny Booker. I've played this tune for a long time. Hang on. Oh, key of G. Yeah. It's another tune that has a lot of words that I don't know that they really make a bunch of sense, but as best as I can piece it together, there's a guy and a mule. The mule doesn't really do much of what he wants, and he has to go to a blacksmith shop to fix both the mule and the cart. And then there's some ominous warnings about the death of the mule. Those are ignored. He proceeds across a river, and that's the end right there. It's a big story.
I realize I haven't been paying attention to the words at all.
I don't think I ever knew what that song was about. And I don't think I still do.
There was an old fellow and he went to school and he made his living by driving a mule. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Rode him up to the foot of the hill and hollered at the mule and the mule stood still. What Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Shoulder against the cart and hollered at the mule and the mule wouldn't start. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. I put my shoulder against the wheel and back in the mud I stuck my heel. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. I rode him up to the blacksmith shop and I hollered at the mule and the mule did stop. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Asked that feller mend my yoke and he hopped to the bellows and he put up smoke. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. I asked that feller to mend my ring and he never charged me nary thing. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Well, then an old man come riding by and he says, young man, your mule's gonna die. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Well, if he dies, I'll tan his skin, and if he lives, I'll ride him again. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. I rode him to the river, but I couldn't get him in. Hit him in the head with a buckeye limb. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Rode him to the river, but I couldn't get across. Hopped on a bullfrog, thought it was harsh. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. There was an old fella and he went to school and he made his living by driving a mule. And what Johnny Booker wouldn't do, what Johnny Booker wouldn't do. Thank you. Oh, I'm getting waves from shadowy figures in the darkness. I don't know who that is. Well, thanks to the generous, fine craftsmanship of Jeff Seitz, I have the luxury of playing on two violins tonight. This is the grand reunion of my two fiddles. This is the first fiddle I ever had as like a full-sized instrument when I was 7, 8 years old. And it's been sitting for about the last 20 years, unplayed and in pieces. And I dropped it off at Jeff's shop on the way out west for a tour of the Southwest that I did a few weeks ago. And he's been working on it ever since, and sure enough, it was ready when I came to town. So you don't have to hear me spend half the night tuning.
Oh, come on.
One of the great joys of playing old-time music is that we paw through obscure archives and kind of nearly dead recordings and listen for things that sound like...
That's a cappuccino machine?
Yeah, that's right. But one of the other things you end up doing when you're looking through old field recordings is you'll find an archive that'll have like 4,000 recordings that are unsorted, and you look at them all by title, and most of them are things you've heard. It's like Arkansas Traveler, Arkansas Traveler, Arkansas Traveler, Arkansas Traveler, particularly if it's from Arkansas, which this archive was. And but part of the problem with that is you tend to skip over the ones whose names you've seen because you're looking for the rare gem, the unheard tune, the thing that will kind of, oh, did you hear that tune that Rhys dug up? Isn't that great? So, you know, while you're trying to do that, though, every now and then you'll skip over these ones that are like Lost Girl, which you've heard a million times. But this one was a little different. So this is called Lost Girl in Pine Hills. Comes from a fiddler named Lacey Jean Fauquier. And Jean is in parentheses, like as if he wanted to clarify that Lacey, I'm a guy, so I go by Jean. But that didn't really seem to work that well. So Lacey Jean, and I found his obituary in this Arkansas newspaper, and it was like a full page. He was a very much loved citizen, and he operated a gas station and a repair shop, and it went on and on for columns about all the things he did, and the very last sentence was, he also played the fiddle. One, two, three, four. Thank you.
I realized that in this room, in this very small room, this lovely audience, are 3 of my favorite guitar players to play with out of 5 favorite guitar players. Just saying.
Let's hear some names.
Who are they?
Identify the guitar players, Abby.
Well, one of them is Sam, even though he's playing the banjo.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That was
Nicely played, Abby.
good.
I'm married to him, so you know. Jim Nelson and Andy Gribble.
Woo!
Seriously, I'm not lying.
It's true.
About one of them.
The amazing thing about playing the bass with different guitar players is like it becomes a ride. Like when you're playing in a jam session, it's like a super fun ride, and you think it's sort of the same, that it would be the same, like no matter who you're playing with, but it's really not. I mean, because old-time guitar is not super complicated, but it has to be in the pocket, and so when you get that, you know, I mean, I can like, in my head, I can hear Jim's playing, and I can hear Andy's playing, and I can hear Sam's playing, and I can appreciate and enjoy each one of those things, even when I'm not playing with them.
We're going to play a Kentucky fiddle tune called, appropriately, The Old Folks Played While the Young People Danced. I learned this tune from a tape that not so mysteriously showed up on my living room table when I came back from a trip. I was living in New York City, and a good friend of ours from Kentucky, a prolific field recorder, known to be kind of a recluse. Can you guess?
No.
Bruce and Loy.
Oh, no. Whoa.
Oh, Bruce
So
Green.
Bruce Green and his wife Loy came to New York City, and they kind of, to say they're country people is a bit of an understatement. They definitely, they don't leave home much. And Bruce recorded an enormous amount of field recordings of Eastern Kentucky fiddlers in the 70s and 80s. And when he came to New York, he's also known as being like a strict traditionalist. This is not somebody who messes around. This is serious music. So they came to New York and stayed at my apartment for what was going to be a few days for an art show for his wife, Loy. And my main job was teaching and playing sessions in New York City. So I would play at bars, 3 or 4 nights a week, hosting old-time music sessions. And these are sloppy affairs. This is not serious renditions of this music. It's pretty much whatever goes. People are coming in with doombecks, and it's like, it's really just anything can happen. And you can try and keep it under control and make it a serious session, but really the bar doesn't want, they want a good time. So I said, Bruce, tonight I have to host this session. It goes until quite late. You probably don't want to come to this. This is going to be just a mess. They're going to play tunes that they supposedly learned from you, in fact, and you're not going to recognize them. He's like, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm going to go. It's like, oh, God, this is a nightmare. This is the worst. So we go to the Lower East Side to our bar, and we play, and Bruce has a great time. Loy has a great time. They stay till like 4 in the morning. The bar is like closing. They're still playing pool. Like I have all these pictures of Bruce Green playing pool with beer in his hands at like 2 in the morning on the Lower East Side. Had a great time. And then they didn't actually ever leave New York. They stayed for a long time. It was fantastic. I'm going to make sure I say it's fantastic because I know this is going on YouTube. Hey, Bruce. Hey, Loy.
They don't have a TV.
It's true.
Or a computer.
I might as well be
probably.
talking to Martians right now. Like, hello, Znoffelbach. So the days turned into weeks, and still Bruce and Loy were in our apartment in Manhattan, much to my delight. It was great. And finally, though, it came time for Thanksgiving, and I had plans out of town. And I was like, well, I'm going to leave for Thanksgiving. You guys totally can stay. This is fantastic. And I left for 4 days for Thanksgiving, and I came home, and they were still there. It was the best. You came home from this thing. It had now been like 3 weeks. Eventually, they did leave to my sorrow. This was not, I was not enduring their presence. But I was left behind a few books. They left some books as a present for me, and then they also left a little cassette tape that had a bunch of tunes, most of which I had never heard before, and it was a lot of Bruce's field recordings. So this is one of the tunes from that cassette. Some tunes in old-time music are also played in bluegrass. This would be one of them, but not like the way we're going to play it. 9-Pound Hammer is a pretty commonly known tune. I've always been puzzled by why it's always played so upbeat. It seems like a real sad song to me. About somebody who can't hold the tools of his trade any longer, and they're too heavy, and he's going to go away and never come back. And it always just strikes me as a bit of a sorrowful song, but it's usually sung kind of like, 9-pound hammer, a little too heavy. Just always seems a little inappropriate to me. So we tried it a little slowed down. I think this original version came from a guy named Frank Blevins, who played in a band with the Tar Heel Rattlers. Frank Blevins and his Tar Heel Rattlers. Just a little too heavy, babe, for my size, babe, for my size. Roll on, buddy, don't you roll so slow, babe, how can I roll when wheels won't go?
Baby, how can we hold when we won't go?
This is another tune that comes from that 3-week stay of Bruce and Loy in our little Manhattan apartment. I grew up primarily in two places. Most people know that I grew up partially in the Midwest, but that was really the later part of my growing up hood. The first half of it was in Beckley, West Virginia. An okay town as far as they go, but it was kind of the right place at the right time. My parents took me around to a lot of old fiddlers, Melvin Wine and Glenn Smith and Wilson Douglas and Ernie Carpenter. And so I got to learn a bunch of tunes from a lot of West Virginia fiddlers before they died. And so I think a lot of what Bruce and I have in common, aside from some interesting life experiences, was that we both were kind of lucky enough to be in the right places at the right time to meet some people. Me as a kid being hauled around by my parents, and he as a much more kind of prescient adult looking forward to a time when these people wouldn't be around. But so one of the tunes we swapped from his recordings was a tune that I hadn't heard really since then anywhere. It's called The Old Black Cat Couldn't Catch a Rat. That tune is a favorite of a neighbor of mine. I live in Fauquier County, Virginia, near the town of Warrenton, and just over the mountain from me, over Englander Mountain. So it's about a mile away as the crow flies, but it takes about 15 minutes to get there by the roads. Is a guy named Selden Ashby, who is the fiddler John Ashby's nephew. And Selden did a lot of field recording of his uncle when Selden was a teen and John was in his 40s. And we bonded over fiddle music, and Selden is in his late 70s now, but he gave me some of these reel-to-reels, and we would sit around and talk, and that was his favorite tune. And I found that out because I was playing for a banjo player's funeral named Ronnie Poe. And so when Ronnie Poe died, I was playing at his funeral, and Selden was one of his friends. And so, if you can picture the scene, it's this hillside in Virginia, and they're burying Ronnie and putting him into the ground to lay him to rest. And Selden turns to face us, and with this big smile on his face, sticks his hand in his pants, through a hole in his pants, and waggles the stump of his finger, which had been cut off much earlier in his life, so he had his finger stump, through his fly. And he's just wiggling at us and smiling. And that was how he told me that was his favorite tune. We had just gotten done playing it, and he was like, boys, I just love that tune. That's my favorite tune, The Old Black Cat.
There's a book of stunts like that actually on the table over there. I'm almost... Rhys didn't even set me up, but if you're interested, there's things like that in that book. That's all I'm going to say.
Do you have to have your finger cut off?
I think
Is that like
that stunt is actually in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not with a cut off finger. Just,
No.
So it's not a prerequisite for that stunt. That was a weird story, Rhys.
Yeah.
It's true. I was my first 8 months in that part of Virginia, and I met Selden Ashby and played at Ronnie Poe's funeral and had to keep my composure and a straight face while I'm facing the people looking at me, and Selden is just wiggling his finger stump at me through his pants.
Okay. All right. We've all got the image now. Forever burned in our brains.
Thank you.
Great.
Can't unsee image.
Yeah. So we're going to play a tune that used to scare me a lot. It's called Poplar Bluff. Now it just scares my traveling companions.
You're right.
I'll just start it and you join in whenever you feel comfortable.
Really? All right. How about counting it?
I'll count it for you. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll give you a count.
Yeah.
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
Rhys Jones on the fiddle there.
We'll play a couple quick ones here and then take a little break and all relax into the night. Yeah. Yeah.
That last one, that was pretty good with a little bit of the seat of the pants feeling, though, right here on the rhythm section.
This is a ballad called Wild Hog in the Woods. It comes from the child ballads in England, in the 1200s. Does anyone ever have a better date than 1200 for the child ballads? Something like that. In the child ballad version, it's like 78 verses, and it's this whole prolonged tale of many trials and tribulations of Sir Bangham, and he fights against giants and dragons. It's kind of like the trials of Hercules, where it's like each successive thing is more terrifying. And one of them that he has to fight, in addition to giants and dragons and all that kind of stuff, is a boar, a wild boar. And in the American version, that's the only one that survives. It's a much shorter song, thankfully. But boars are scary things, and whenever I play this, I'm reminded that there was a really long period of time in our history when the noises of things that went bump in the night could quite easily be pretty monstrous. They're running away.
There is a wild hog in these woods, doodle-dum down, doodle-dum day. There is a wild hog in these woods, doodle-dum oh day. There is a wild hog in these woods, catch him boys, don't let him get away. Cut him down, catch him if you can. Oh, bang 'em dead, haunting ride, doodle-dum down, doodle-dum day. Oh, bang 'em dead, haunting ride, doodle-dum oh day. Oh, bang 'em dead, haunting ride, sword and a pistol at his side. Cut him down, catch him if you can. Oh, bang 'em rode to the wild boar's den, doodle-hum down, doodle-hum day. Oh, bang 'em rode to the wild boar's den, doodle-hum oh day. Bang 'em rode to the wild boar's den, spied the bones of 1,000 men. Cut him down, catch him if you can. They fought 9 hours upon that day, doodle-dum down, doodle-dum day. They fought 9 hours upon that day, doodle-dum oh day. They fought 9 hours upon that day. The wild hog fled, it slunk away. Cut him down, catch him if you can. Catch him, boys, don't let him get away. Cut him down, catch him if you can.
Man, if you sang that to a kid, they wouldn't be able to sleep.
The scariest part about that song is that at the end, the wild hog lives. It flees. It slinks away. It's not gone. It's still there. Bang him, did you win? And he starts talking about his shoes. Like, there's still a wild hog that eats men and crunches their bones.
You need to write a verse where the hog ends up under the bed.
We'll finish up this set with a tune called Shelvin' Rock, which is a classic tune from my part of West Virginia in southern West Virginia, Beckley, where I spent a good portion of my childhood. The most common Shelvin' Rock comes from the Carpenter family. They were a prolific, multi-generational, 7 generations of fiddle and carpenters that ended arguably with the greatest of the fiddle and carpenters, French carpenter, but also his nephew, Ernie? Was Ernie his nephew? Does anybody know? Ernie Carpenter was a little younger. I met and played with Ernie when I was a kid, and he taught me a Shelvin' Rock at the Augusta Heritage Center when I was 7. But this Shelvin' Rock comes from a neighbor of theirs named John Johnson. I really want to sing that song so bad. My name is John Johnson. I come from Wisconsin. No.
It's too late.
His name was John Johnson, and he was this incredible character. I did meet him a bit when I was a kid also, because he was at Augusta, and my friend John Herman's job was to shepherd John around John Johnson. Would disappear in the night to go sleep wild in the woods because he felt that the dew would replenish him. He was like a traveling circus performer and an itinerant like a migrant worker and a hopper of trains and a writer of poetry and a con artist who would try and like buy and sell your fiddle from you and then back to you. And like he said he could jump out of a 50-gallon barrel, but he was this incredible fiddler. And this is John Johnson's Shelvin' Rock. Thank you. We're going to take a brief
Thank
break,
you.
and we'll be back soon.
Welcome back, everybody. Have you been having a good time? You enjoying this music? And give these guys a round of applause, and they'll play you a few more songs.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll try and make this second set a little short. Apparently, we went quite a long time on our first one, so recognize it's pretty late.
Somebody was long-winded. No, his stories are great. I hadn't heard half of them.
Half of them. The other ones I knew by heart. We're going to play another really, really common tune with a slightly uncommon variant. It's called Black-Eyed Susie. This is one that comes from a fiddler named Albert Hash, who lives about 4 hours south of where I live in Virginia. And lately I've been playing a lot of Albert Hash with my apprentice. I have an apprentice. The state of Virginia, as I'm sure Missouri and almost every other state that I've ever heard of, have master apprentice programs. And so this year I'm part of that program, and my apprentice and I are going to be working on the music of Albert Hash and the music of John Ashby mostly, as well as just hanging out together. So this version of Black-Eyed Susie I always called the pretty Black-Eyed Susie, because it's pretty. This is another one that comes from that kind of crazy character. What's it? This is another one that comes from that unusual character, West Virginia fiddler named John Johnson. He came from a part of West Virginia known as Strange Creek. And he was a strange guy. This is another version of a tune that is originally from the Carpenter family, but he had his own take on it. It's called You Piney Mountain.
Karen Carpenter?
Karen Carpenter. This is Karen Carpenter's You Piney Mountain. Thank you, Sam.
Medley with Muskrat Love.
It's kind of a generic thing to say, I want to thank, Focal Point, the place that we're playing, and I do. That I'm not trying to undersell that point. What I do want to say is how important it is when musicians come from out of town and play somewhere that there is a community of people that support music, and it's not just about having a venue, and it's not just about being able to play your instruments. There are plenty of places where we could go, or I have gone and played to no one. And that has a lot to do with the community that you all build in these places. And it's very often centered around a place like Focal Point. So I just want to say thank you guys for both providing a place like this, but also providing a community that comes together on a regular basis to listen to music, whether it's good or bad. hopefully it's good. But I guess my point is that it doesn't matter how well we play. That doesn't bring in a bunch of people. That gratifies our ego maybe in some way, that it's really nice to play for a bunch of people. But what makes concerts like this happen is a community commitment to this, and that's really awesome to see.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Very much.
What was that?
I don't know. I just touched it, the lightest little touch. Just a little.
Don't touch it.
Oh. Sorry. Is it still on? It's still on. Thanks to our tireless sound engineer for putting up with me destroying his microphones.
Give Paul a hand, please. Thanks, Paul.
Here's Cotton Eye Joe. I wanna go to One of my favorite fiddlers of the old 78 era was a Texas fiddler named Eck Robertson. And he's kind of the alpha and omega of old-time fiddling because he was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 78 historians, I think he was the first recorded fiddler, the solo fiddle, in the history of recorded music. And it's really hard to argue with the statement that he was also the best. So that like the very first recordings that were made were some of the best recordings in the history of music. And that's not just from a sentimental point of view. Any fiddler who listens to the way Eck Robertson fiddled, you know, we all are in agreement. He's one of the best fiddlers that ever was. I think one of my favorite stories, and I don't know how apocryphal this is, but I mean, if you were this good on the fiddle, I think it seems about right, was that he basically got on a bus uninvited to go to a record company's doorstep in New York City. I think he got on the bus in Lubbock and showed up uninvited because he'd heard about this, you know, technology that he should be recorded on. And he showed up at the doorstep and said, "You've never heard of me, but I'm Eck Robertson, and I'm the greatest fiddler that's ever lived, and you have to record me." And a number of things strike me about that story. One, it was very true. It's quite possible he was the greatest fiddler that ever lived. Two, I just love that he was completely willing to say that about himself. And so they did indeed take a chance on him, and he recorded this version of Lost Indian, which I think he recorded it in a slightly different tuning that I'm going to play it in, but it's the same idea. One, two, three, four. We'll play one last one here.
What's it gonna be?
Well, we do have 3 things written down as a possible last one. I think we're going to play a tune called, it's a waltz, so it's a good last number. It's called Who's Gonna Shoe Your Pretty Little Feet, and Who Is Gonna Glove Your Hand?
We expect to see some people dancing.
There were people dancing before. I saw some like
I saw shadows.
I can't see a dang thing.
This one's, it's a little bit of a sad song. Again, old-time tunes don't always tell stories very clearly. They often seem like just kind of incidental lyrics thrown together. You can kind of like trace a little story arc in this one. Somebody goes away and they're worried about the fidelity of their true love, and they come back and find that they're wearing fancy new shoes and a beautiful dress, and kind of wonder where they got them from. So.
Target.
The answer is Target.
Well, who's gonna shoe your pretty little feet? And who's gonna glove your hands? And who's gonna kiss your rosy red cheeks when I'm in a foreign land? Well, Mama's gonna shoe my pretty little feet, and Papa's gonna glove my hands, and Sister's gonna kiss my rosy red cheeks when you're in a foreign land. flying from pine to pine. They're mourning for their own true love, just like I mourn for mine. Well, who's gonna shoe your pretty little feet? And who's gonna glove your hands? And who's gonna kiss your rosy red cheeks when I'm in a foreign land?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming out, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks a bunch.
Rhys Jones on the fiddle, everybody.
Let's hear it for Abby Ladin on the old bass,
Sam Bartlett on the banjo.
the old banjo.
And thanks again to Focal Point for hosting us tonight. Appreciate it.